Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. It's Alan Barry Labucan here from the Alan Barry Reports, and I've got a special guest today. My friend Ewan Downie from Premier Gold is joining us. This is one of the most exciting gold companies that I know of. They've got three exceptional projects going on in three different camps. Those projects really excite me. Red Lake, Ontario, up near Beardsmore, Geraldton, and then down in Nevada. Ewan's going to tell us all about it. Thanks a lot for coming on, Ewan.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has. And I think since we last spoke, you added the Nevada project. Is that called Hasaga or something like that?
No, we added the Hasaga project in Red Lake, and we added the South Arturo project in Nevada.
That's right. That's right. And that's an old mine at that South Arturo, right?
Yeah, it was mined years ago by Glamis. It was then brought into a joint venture with Barrick. They discovered another deposit, which they were just finished doing feasibility, had just started groundbreaking when we made a deal to buy Goldcorp's 40% interest in the project.
So you're JV with them?
Yeah, JV with Barrick. Barrick owns 60%. They're the operator, and the ore from the mine will be processed at Barrick's facilities, either at Cortez or at Goldstrike, right in the Carlin Trend. And our first gold production is expected to be in January of this year, next year, the upcoming
2016. Oh, so just a couple months away.
Yeah, we're a month or two away from getting our first gold. Finally make that bridge from being an explorer to a developer to a producer. And the second half of next year is expected to be really exciting from that project as we get into the heart of the ore body. And we should get to our account over 80.
Before you go on to that, Ewan, I really got to say, congratulations. I've been with Premier Gold as one of the analysts following the company since they spun out Wolfden. Spun out Premier from Wolfden. Your company has done a wonderful job. Your team has been great. I've seen that stock come out of the box at 70 cents a few years ago. And in the interim, you guys have just done a phenomenal job. And now you're transitioning to a producer. Congratulations, Ewan.
Yeah, thanks. It should be, like I said, about 80,000 ounces to our account next year. And then we continue mining in 2017. Then that project goes on a 1-year hiatus, or is expected to, while we build a ramp out of the bottom of the pit to go after the higher grade underground deposit. That's
the thing that excited me the most, Ewan, was because there's that element of leftover, more exploration to be done there and deeper, and looks like you guys have had a lot of success with that drilling.
Yeah, they just finished the drill program there. We put out the initial phase of results a month or so ago, and our best hole was 90 feet of 0.75 ounces per ton. So it's a thick, high-grade deposit, and it's still open. We're expecting to get more results from Barrick at our JV meeting in January, and then we'll be putting those out for dissemination after that.
So that's pretty much the story there, right? You got production coming up in January, plenty of exploration potential ahead of you with the new stuff. That will come into the cycle. When would that be expected, Ewan?
We're expecting the feasibility for Hard Rock with Centerra to be completed in the first half of the year. And assuming it's good, we'll be moving towards finishing our permitting, and then hoping to have the first phase of construction starting at Hard Rock in 2017. We've recently had some success with the new discovery with Goldcorp on the underground drilling from the tram. If that continues next year, maybe by the end of next year, we'll be talking about when that might get developed. So we've got a.
Well, I saw a little smile come up on your face when you mentioned Red Lake, and you know me, I'm a big fan of Red Lake, and I've had our ups and downs in Red Lake recently. I don't want to get into that story. I've already written about it enough. But this is a really exciting story. Why don't you go into a little bit about what Goldcorp's been doing there, and now, you know, the benefits of being able to drill off of that infrastructure that they've been building for you.
We started a couple of years ago. Once the tram was essentially completed, we started sort of a regional exploration program where every 400 meters from the tram, we drilled a hole about 5,000 feet or about 1,500 meters into sort of no man's land in between Koshner and Red Lake. We hit gold in the first hole. We haven't followed that up yet, but I think the fifth or sixth hole we drilled, we hit some interesting mineralization in one of our holes from the tram. We stepped over 400 meters, drilled another. Looked like there could be an offset in the ultramafic, and folding and faulting are real key along these ultramafics in Red Lake. So we went back to the old.
That's a characteristic of all the mines there, right? The
Yeah.
high grade ones.
Yeah, the higher grade ones often are associated with north-south faulting, and we had evidence there could be a north-south fault in there. So we did some fan drilling. We zeroed in on where we thought there was a pretty good mineralized zone, and recently had a hole of over an ounce over plus 30 feet, and that was our best hole from the JV to date. It's one of the deepest holes we drilled into that target, and in 2016 we're moving the drill to a new drill bay along strike from that to sort of target the cross-cutting fault area. And if it holds together, I think we're on to something pretty decent there.
And Ewan, is that why they kind of wanted to chase after that fifth hole and in around there more than going back on the first hole that you hit in, or why the priority over 1/5 area?
The first hole we drilled hit a quartz vein in a different environment than your typical Red Lake mine, and what we call our fold target. We don't have an official name as a zone yet, but it's a target in this fold. And the style of mineralization we were seeing in those holes is identical to what you get at the Red Lake mine. So
so it had all the bells and whistles, if you will, from a geological perspective.
Yep.
Got it.
Exactly.
The folding really being important, right?
Yep.
Excellent. So I guess there's nothing to stop them from drilling there. You're underground. You don't have to drill from the surface all that way down. You can just sort of really target things quite exceptionally.
Yeah, it's still there's still a lot of room at depth from where we first started drilling. So I'm guessing we're going to stick around these two drill bays for at least the first 6 months of next year, and we'll be drilling the hopefully continuing following it up along strike to the west where it's open, and then follow up at depth below where we recently had a couple of plus 1 ounce hits. And we did drill up dip quite a ways, and it appears as though the further we went up dip, it was pinching out. So we're hoping we just clip the top of the system, and as it goes deeper, hopefully it gets better. So
nice to hear it.
Next year, yeah.
I always like when I hear those high grade juices flowing out there in Red Lake, Ewan.
Yeah, we've been doing some pretty good stuff at McCoy Cove in Nevada as well that you'll hear about early next year. Drilling there's a lot of area between the two historic pits at McCoy Cove, and we've been drilling a few targets in around there, and visually we've been having some good success. So there'll be, I think, pretty much all of our properties right now are going well in terms of.
Well, as a fan and someone who's watched the company, one of the philosophies that you've had over the years, which is not unique to the industry, but pulling it off is. And you've always been focused on, projects near a head frame of a mine, in areas where there's high grade. You've been, you've given yourself the best chances, and your team there is exceptional at picking projects. We've seen that with all the additions that you've put on. So, I think that's an important part of Premier as well.
Yeah, Steve McGibbon and I, at least twice, 3 times a week, get together on calls and discuss other projects. We're always looking for good opportunities. We're always doing due diligence on projects, and often looking in camps like the Carlin Trend. What projects are idle that a major sitting on or something like that. So we're constantly looking for the next opportunity. Obviously, South Arturo and Hasaga were the top 2 we found this year, and we've got quite a bit on our plate right now, so we're not jumping up and down to go do something else. But if we found a no-brainer, I think we'd take it.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So, before I got into the mining business, I used to teach golf, Ewan, and the best compliment that I ever got as a golf teacher was when people would say you have a very good eye. I think your team has a very good eye for projects, and it's bearing fruit in all of them. So you've got, we've touched a little bit on Beardsmore, Geraldton area. Where's things going on that project, Ewan?
We're just finishing up the final resource that will be used in the feasibility study. We've really got a really good handle on what the costing should be in terms of capital, in terms of operating costs. So now plugging in the new resource into a final pit design, trying to figure out what the best strip ratio to grade is, to optimize the economics, and then run with the full feasibility. Expect to have it completed in the first half of the year. And the Canadian exchange rate isn't hurting the Canadian projects, so I'm anticipating it's going to be pretty good.
Excellent. And so let's go over the projects and the partnerships, Ewan, just so we can, everybody, we've talked about all the projects. Let's go over the partnership deals with those various projects and who your partners are.
Okay, well, first at Hard Rock, or the TransCanada property in Geraldton, Ontario, we have a 50-50 joint venture with Centerra. They're funding the first 185 million in project expenses. So we spent about 27 million of that in 2015. Expect 16 to pretty much be the same, and then feasibility study there. So Centerra 50-50 jointly owned company, so that neither party is an operator.
So they spend the next 185 million, did you say, Ewan?
Yeah, the first 185, and then with all expenditures beyond that are on a 50-50 basis.
So you're carried right to production?
Well, we're carried to a production decision, and some of the capital, let's say we spend 85 million to get it to a production decision. The first 100 million, that's what's left over, the 185 will be to Centerra's account, and the capital beyond that is shared 50-50.
Got it. Okay.
And then, also in Ontario, we have the Rahill Bonanza joint venture with Goldcorp. That one is owned 44% by us, 56% by Goldcorp. They operate that one.
That's the one with the tram.
Yeah, it's the one with the tram, the underground tram, where we've had some recent success. And the other joint venture we have is South Arturo in the Carlin Trend of Nevada, the project that's being brought into production right now. And that partnership is with Barrick. Barrick owns 60%, we hold 40%, and we contribute our 40% right now to development capital. We're fully funded to put in all the cash into development. And next year, in 2016, we expect to be a pretty strong cash flow positive year for the company.
Wow. So that puts things pretty nicely together. You and if you had a crystal ball looking forward, I know you have to be careful about forward-looking statements and all that. I'll put the disclaimers on there and everything, but so what are your highlights looking forward to next year, Ewan, for Premier?
Well, the main highlight for us is going to be first gold pour at Gold Strike. So first time we as a company get to take our own gold. We are likely going to take gold in kind rather than taking the cash, and we'll choose when and if we're going to sell that gold. So that's our main upcoming highlight. We expect that in the first quarter. Second quarter, we expect the feasibility study for Hard Rock. Third and fourth quarters of next year, we expect to be publishing resources for McCoy Cove and for the new Hasaga property. So quite a few big milestones for us next year.
Absolutely, absolutely. I noticed something you said there that kind of stood out to me a little bit, Ewan, is that you're taking delivery of your portion in gold. You don't have a lot of pressure on the treasury, right? You've got a big treasury right now, if memory serves me right.
Yeah, we're sitting on about 70 million in cash right now.
Yeah,
we're a bit unique in our sector, and in that we do have a lot of money, and that's to fund our development at South Arturo. And as I said, next year that mine we expect to be, the cash costs on that asset are around $400 an ounce. So it's one that's going to put up pretty good cash flow for us. And I'm thinking next year we're going to get a bump in gold, especially in the second half of the year. I don't think the Band-Aid the U.S. is making it look like they have is going to last forever. And with everything else that's happening in the world, I think we're going to see some cracks, and second half of next year should be good for gold, and that's perfect timing for us.
Yeah, my argument is really on that US dollar. It's really had an unprecedented run against every currency in the world. It's up 25% on average with every major currency over the last 14 months or so. They use the word unprecedented for a reason. It usually isn't sustainable. And, I don't really see a lot of reasons why that strength in the US dollar is there other than a fear trade. I can't understand why a country putting on 18, 19, 20 trillion worth of debt is their currency is that exciting. But these gray hairs have shown me a lot of things that surprise me in this business.
I hear you. Yeah, I feel the same. It's the safe haven currency of the world is essentially a broke country.
Exactly, bankruptcy there. They might have to roll it back or something, Ewan.
Yeah.
No, I do think that it's that I think could really separate you from your peers, Ewan, if your juniors or companies, the smaller mining companies are always a leverage play on gold, but if you're able to not sell it at multi-year lows and at least get a little bit better of a price, you get an extra whammy there for the investors in the company as well.
Yeah.
Is that part of the strategy to try to, I don't want to think you guys as trying to time the market, but is that going to be part of your thinking that goes on in the future, Ewan?
I think we're big believers in gold. If you're a gold company, you have to be. I'd like to see the seniors be a bit more confident in the metals they produce and hold it instead of taking all their cash. I think that would really start setting a precedence. Is we'll sell our gold when we need to, not just because we want to.
A little discipline too in selection and grade selection and projects and what you're not turning off or about to turn on would probably help the price of gold out as well as if those gold mining companies weren't so eager to sell their gold at the lows.
Yeah, and we're starting to see, some shutdowns start to occur. Obviously, some other mines aren't working out. Allied Nevada, Midway didn't quite work out. Rubicon right now is on a hiatus. So, a lot of projects that we thought were going to be coming on. Sandgold was in production. It's not anymore. So we're starting to see that production start to get pulled out of the market. And with less gold to go around, and it seems like China and India and Russia just pouring into gold, and I think they're turning some of their U.S. dollars into real currency, and if that continues and the supply continues to drop, gold has to recover. So
you and I don't think, I think most people that invest in gold, a lot of times they just look at the gold price as the barometer of what's going on with the gold, the production and supply and demand. And you and I both are very aware of how weak the supply chain is. We've seen the dropping head grades in the world mines. Discoveries are way down, but Premier's a good name. You guys are looking for that right high grade sort of stuff in this market.
Yeah, we'd like to focus on assets we think are higher margin rather than just squeak by. I think Randgold has done a great job of building a company where they've got good quality mines and they've used the cash flow from those mines to build their business rather than continue to run off to shareholders every time they want to do something. And you still see some of the producers coming back to the market. So if you have good mines, I don't know why they keep coming back to the market for selling stock.
They ain't that good, Ewan, and I think they're probably one of the ones with that dropping head grade and the dropping average grade of their reserves and everything else.
Yep.
Well, Ewan, thanks for giving us some insights into what's going on with Premier Gold and your opinion on gold. It's important now, Ewan, simply because you're going to have some gold coming your way soon.
Yeah, the one good thing is about it is that we'll take our gold and bring it from the U.S. into Canada. So we'll be converting it if it were today at $1.37. So that's the one good thing about the disparity in currencies is in Canadian dollar terms, they help the gold price.
Well, you're not missing a beat there, Ewan, and that's nothing new with you and Premier Gold. And I really want to thank you for coming on today and sharing your opinions on the gold market and Premier Gold with us today.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on. It's been great to see you again.
Yeah, now that we've got this thing set up real easy, Google's done a great job with the Hangout, so we'll have to do it more often, Ewan. You're one of the best stories I can find out there in the gold space, and I like to keep my audience well informed of what's going on. And this is also a crucial time for me. I often find that stocks that are sort of soft right now, they get really strong coming into January, February, and with you guys having some gold pouring and stuff like that, I would think that you'll be on the top of the list of customers. So it was a timely call to get you on the show as well, Ewan, and we'll do it again though, I hope.
Okay, yeah, it'd be great to be back on. Let me know when, and I'll make myself available.
As soon as you pour some gold there, Ewan, will get you on in January.
Okay, I'll have a little piece in front of me. I'll be like, here it is.
Awesome. On that note, before closing, I always have to say my shows and my commentary are for information purposes only. This is not an offer to buy or sell. It's important for investors to do all their homework before making any investment decisions and calling and talking to your financial advisors. On that note, thank you very much for joining us and have a great day.